good morning, good evening, good day, good night, whatever time zone you're in. This is the official NoBuddies podcast, and this is our first podcast, right? It's our first podcast. This is me, Nez and H, and this is that guy, the other nobody.
I am the nobody, that is the other one. Hello.
That's great to know. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about, is getting old a choice?
Our first ever topic, ladies and gentlemen. How about we jump in?
Yeah, all right, let's go. So, I think
Tell me
it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
No. You start.
I think it's important to outline what we mean by is getting old a choice. Getting physically old is not a choice, at least not now, and I doubt it will be in the next 100, 200 years.
Well, if genetic modification happens sooner than we expect,
Sure,
is a
but
possibility.
you can't count on it while we're alive. So, for us, getting physically old is not a choice. It's going to happen.
It's not a choice. But mentally, though, here's what I'm thinking. That is 100% a choice. I can choose right now to forever stay a dumbass. I can happily say I will never amount to anything and will mentally not be prepared for all the challenges that I will face. I will be dumb forever, and that is a choice.
Not sure if we can leave that in a podcast, but you have a point. But yeah, getting old in and of itself, like obsolescing, is definitely not a choice. Definitely is a choice, sorry. It is a choice. It's not a necessity. But the mystery is why people choose to grow old, why they choose to obsolesce in the face of finding out new things, exploring new things. And I think one of the main reasons why people do that is a lack of motivation and just the false notion that they already know everything they need to know. Old people are old. They've been around for a while. So it's natural for them to assume that they know enough. And they know more than these younger people ever will. And perhaps in some ways that's true. Experience is something that you cannot learn. It is something you have to experience. It's something you have to gain.
That's why it's called experience.
That's right. And I mean, I guess I'm talking a bit too much, so I'm going to let you talk a bit. Why do you think old people choose to obsolesce? Why do you think they choose to do so?
I don't know, honestly, but I just wanna rewind a little and add a thing that I said. What if let's take a hypothetical, okay? What if you knew about the term nostalgia, that you will miss something in the past? Now that could either mean I'm gonna miss something that I see, or I'm gonna miss something that I think. So if I know that in 30 years I will miss today to my thoughts that I had today, why don't I just never stop thinking about those thoughts?
Yeah, but time will always pass and won't be the same. It's like
it won't be the same.
It's like, it's not just that milkshake you had for the first time in your life. It's everything else linked to it. It's that entire day. It doesn't matter and it's the experience of having it for the first time. I remember when there was this when I was 6, right? There was this new brand of chocolate in town. No one knew who it was. It came for the first time in my country, and I was like, wow, that's cool. And the first time I tried it, it was incredible, but it wasn't just the memory of trying that. It was the entire experience. It was the entire day leading up to that. Right? Going to the grocery store and seeing that bar of chocolate, and I'm like, wow, I've never seen this before. They say it comes from Germany, and stuff that's from Germany is better, right?
Mm.
So, we automatically thought that was good, and it was great at the time. Now there's like 40 flavors, there's 40 different sweets, and no one really cares about the. Well, they do care,
No,
but
but not a lot of people have that same experience that you have, that
yeah.
you had back in
Mm.
when you were 6.
So nostalgia, I think, is a lot of brains playing trickery on us, and
Well, yeah, that
especially.
is
Mm,
nostalgia. I just no say. I just agree with you.
mm,
No,
uh,
I
yeah, I mean,
continue. So
yeah, nostalgia is just oversimplified, general silhouettes of what memories really were, because our brains can only hold so much, and our mind tends to compress things. It's just like the compression in a YouTube video. You don't, um, it wringles out details and it leaves a lighter gist, but in return, you lose some of the detail of that memory. And in fact, here's here's a bit of a mind-boggling fact to all of our listeners out there. Tell me what you ate 5 days ago for breakfast. Unless it was something new or something new made yourself, you won't remember it. You'll just forget about what you did that day, most likely. And that's nostalgia. Or that's the process that makes nostalgia. Only the most important, most impactful, nice memories make up your nostalgia. A lot of our bad memories are pushed aside in the sense of nostalgia. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to, how much I'd pay for just a minute of me being 6 again, and something like that. It wasn't sunshine and flowers. That's what your brain makes it to be. It's really not, but the compression and the, sort of wringling out of details that our minds do is partly the issue. And that's all I had to say about nostalgia. So nostalgia is something that will never go away. That's for sure. And in certain ways, nostalgia is the one thing we share with older people, which brings us back on the topic: is getting old a choice? And nostalgia certainly plays a big part in that. I think you would agree too.
yeah. Going back on the your obsolescence fact, the terminology about old people. I
Mm,
think they just mostly choose that because
mm,
they don't have another choice. They have seen everything, they have experienced everything they could,
mm,
and I think that a lot of old people just usually at you know when the clock ticks decide, hey, I am out of like style, not style, but I am out of it's not my time anymore,
mm,
and just come with the fact that they are old, they are out of date, they are. What I'm trying to say, I think they don't have a choice when it comes to becoming like obsolete and becoming old and aging. I
mm,
personally think that they themselves have to like wrap around the fact that they are becoming old so that they can live peacefully with the fact that they are becoming old.
mm.
You
But
know
I feel like it's sort of blown out of proportion when it comes
what do you mean?
to, like, old, when you hand a young kid a piece of tech, they're probably going to figure out what's going on in less than 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
um, because they're accustomed to that. You hand a 70-year-old, 80-year-old grandma, tell her to make a tweet, she's not going to know what a tweet is.
Well,
uh,
yeah,
and I feel
I think
like, sorry, go ahead.
I feel like that's mostly just because again, like you said, our brain can only handle a certain amount of information, and maybe it's just that point of technology. It's just not like interesting to them anymore. I've had an interesting conversation with my grandma, like
Mm-hmm.
2 months ago, and she just said that technology is for her moving too fast, and that's why she doesn't want to adapt because number one, it's scary. It's Orwellian. It has to be Orwellian, and number two, it's just overwhelming at the point because we now, us that grew with technology, are used to it, just like my mother was used to using that using a landline, and
Yeah.
she was used to you know fucking staying outside for 7 hours a day. She's just they're used to it, and they're just overwhelmed by everything. I mean, if you saw aliens just come down and start using some weird techno shit, like you would be weirded out too. You wouldn't know what to do. You would be standing there, probably scared.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point, but I mean that is a fair point. I don't know. I don't have much to say to that, but again, I've seen old people, in their 60s or 70s, who play, I don't know, say Minecraft, who stream on Twitch, who do things like this that it doesn't seem like they should be able to do it. It's a stereotype that we've sort of built in.
Yeah, we've made this stereotype, and now it's so weird to see old people like playing Minecraft. But again, a big portion of elderly do just not enjoy that kind of stuff. You may enjoy, like you said earlier, you don't enjoy rap. They don't enjoy video games. They don't enjoy Minecraft. Some do, some don't. Some will to adapt. Some decide to say, that's cool, dude, that's cool, and just
then,
ignore it.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. So
uh,
yeah,
you,
back to the
you,
question. Back to the question: is getting old a choice? I would
think
say that it partially is, it partially isn't. I mean, you could go ahead now.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, our brains are fucking intertwined. I just fucking wanted to say, oh, it's 50-50. It's yes and no to is getting old a choice. Christ
Yeah.
almighty. Okay. Interesting,
very interesting. But since we're on the topic of recollection and things like that and getting old, I think we need to mention something extremely important that could be stopping old people from not getting old or not getting that old.
Dementia.
I was about to say that. Dementia. A big nail in the coffin to anyone who is looking to spend their older days being young. I think the best way to put it. It is a disease we know very little about. If you go on Wikipedia right now, there will be a flood of words coming at you, but when you really distill it, all we know is roughly where and when it forms and how quickly it spreads. And that there are only 4 medicines, 3 of which are basically the same type, and all of them just make the disease longer, which I think has questionable ethnicity, but it just makes for a longer suffering marathon. And I hear a lot of people who get diagnosed with dementia, especially old people. In fact, in my family, I don't have dementia.
I just want to correct you. You may be. I just want you to watch out. You may be mixing dementia and Alzheimer, because
Alzheimer's is
also
70% of dementia. I know, I know. Alzheimer's is like 70% of the cases of dementia.
because you usually when you get diagnosed by a doctor, they usually say it's Alzheimer.
Yeah,
You
okay,
know,
so Alzheimer, or, well, most commonly
memory loss.
memory loss, yes. But I think it goes above memory loss once you get to stage 5. It's at the point where you can't function anymore. And,
Mm.
you know, more and more dementia cases are being, Alzheimer cases, sorry, are being reported every day. In the past 10 years, we've had a massive decrease in um, all kinds of cancers, breast cancer, uh, brain
Mm-hmm.
tumors, all these kinds of things. But Alzheimer has increased by 76% in the last 10 years.
Well,
And yeah, it is continuing to rise more and more in elderly people. There have
uh,
been. Sorry, go ahead.
uh, no, no, no. You say.
Yeah, there have
Continue. Sorry.
been ludicrous theories out there. Things like it could be tap water, or the purifiers we use in tap water. It could be the pollution we have today, and whatever the cause, it is a epidemic of sorts, not of a virus, but of a disease. And the weirdest part is it's not contagious. I mean, if you're around a person who has Alzheimer's, you're not going to get it yourself. It just is something that's been spreading not by coughs, but by genes. And once you're faced with that obstacle, getting old is very much not a choice anymore. And until we find some magical prevention or some cure, which is not likely to happen in the next 20 years, Alzheimer's will be an insurmountable obstacle to really living your life to the fullest. Because there's two terms to life. It's not just lifespan, it's something called health span. And while our lifespans have been increasing with the advent of medicine, with the advent of, um, you know, earlier when you were old and you got a heart attack, there were little chances that you would go to hospital fast enough to recover. Now we have things like nitroglycerin, epinephrine, all these kinds of medicines that help you survive. But that has led to an increased lifespan, but a very decreased health span. Especially with the advent of pollution, with the advent of a lot of, unhealthy working conditions.
Conditions.
Yeah. Nuclear facilities, mining rigs, uh, oil mining rigs, especially. Um, and at that point, it's not a choice because it's been increasing more and more. Alzheimer's has been increasing, and other diseases are sure to follow. Things like heart disease. Heart disease has been the leading cause of sudden deaths in the past 5 years. At least that's how I read it. So we're getting less healthy and less healthy. And I feel like this isn't about the physical side of getting old. Our conversation was initially psychologically getting old. Is that a choice or not? But I think the
Mm-hmm.
physical side impacts a lot of that. If you can try to remember as much as you want, but if Alzheimer hits you, you don't really have much of a choice. So yeah, you want to say anything?
I'm thinking. Give me a second.
Okay. While we're waiting, sheesh.
Um, I personally think that Alzheimer and just memory loss in general,
Mm.
well, it is and identified as a progressive disease, which means as older you get, the more likely and the bigger problems you'll have to deal with. I think it's just something we just sadly have to live with. I agree, it's not a choice, and when we're diagnosed with Alzheimer's or any case of memory loss, yes, aging is not a choice anymore. But just like when as you get older, you have to wear like glasses because your vision starts to get impaired more and more. Uh,
Hmm.
I think you just have to just as you have to deal with your impaired vision when you get older, I think you do have to at least try to come in terms with the fact that you have a memory loss. That you have memory loss. Yeah, you basically said everything that has need to be said about this about Alzheimer's and dementia. So I really don't have anything to add to this.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I mean, I get carried away.
I mean, it's good. It's good. As long as you get carried away, the more interesting you get.
Mm.
So
Mm.
Um,
Um.
but I want to bring back now that we've covered physical and mental states of aging. Is there anything more we can let's say go over?
Well, I think one of the things we need to talk about is the attempts to prevent aging.
Or
And
maybe prevent. You know what would be interesting?
Mhm.
No. Nah, forget about it. Yeah.
Okay.
No, you start. You start about that
Yeah.
preventions.
Well, one of the, us humans tend to try to outdo our past generations, our predecessors. And in this case, if any of these systems succeed, like stem cell transplants or cryogenic preservation is one of the other things, we might be the last successors. But is this really going to work? And I think I'll ask you for, to talk about that this time.
When it comes to cryogenic, and I've seen it's probably just a shit post, but there's been a fucking thing with Elon Musk and him saying that he wants to transfer our brains into Minecraft. And there's usually in a lot of sci-fi, there's always that lingering fact that this novel, this movie can transfer your brain into a computer and you'll live forever.
That Elon Musk
Well,
thing is definitely a shit post. I'm sorry, but that is definitely a
well,
shit
yeah,
post.
I said it's a shitpost, but I
Mm.
just want to bring that topic of while you can physically preserve yourself, mentally, still impossible. If you can be in a machine and live hundreds and hundreds of years,
Mm.
you will not physically get old, but your mental state, I think, will just further and further decline. It's like with vampires. Vampires in modern media don't age, but they have been alive for more than 500, 600, 700 years when it comes to the point that they no longer feel empathy for anything. They have seen
Mm.
everyone they love, everyone they hate die and die again. So
Mm.
it actually sounds like torture.
Mm.
Preventing yourself from dying. It sounds like a torture. It sounds like a pain in the bum. Which
Yeah.
which actually brings up question: is it okay that aging is not a choice, that we have to come with the terms that we're gonna die? Because if we don't die, like we're just gonna become like vampires. We're not gonna have empathy. We're gonna see everyone the same. And
Mm.
the ways they try to prevent, number one, let's talk about capitalism first. It's scummy. First of all, I was in 2 years ago. I was in Paris, and holy shit, are there commercials for anti-aging cream and shit like that? It's for
Ah.
skin. It's obviously for skin, but It's so
Yeah.
funny to me, and I don't want to step on anyone's beliefs, but the whole crystal healing and you will live forever in heaven theory is just
Yeah.
it's kind of bonker billies to me because
Yeah.
they're just saying to you that hey, you can trust us because you will not die. We are epic. Join us now.
Yeah. Um that's definitely true. And one of the advents of death, one of the good parts about death, if you can say so, it's something that gives your life meaning. If I live forever and that guy lived forever, I mean, that underscore guy lived forever, um, we would say, hey man, do you want to start this podcast? No, we'll do it in some 200 years. We've got time. I don't feel like it right now.
Yeah,
We would never go out and do this.
yeah, we
And
just become lazy.
yeah, if a race doesn't have a finish line,
Then is it
is
really a
it a
race?
race? Yes, is it a
Yeah.
race? And life is a race of sorts. Um, you have no clue what obstacle you're gonna meet next, but that's the thrill of life. You're trying to run for a goal, and I feel like all of this, immortality, this pursuit of immortality that we have unavoidably put upon ourselves is meaningless. Even if we succeed, which is extremely unlikely, our odds of succeeding anytime soon are just, you know, astronomical, if at all. If we even do reach it, again, as he said, it would be torture. It would be utter torture. It would be just complete suffering to the point where death might be viewed as a release, a relief of sorts, if you will.
Uh,
So,
I wanna, I
hmm?
wanna come back. I wanna back off the fact that what you said is great. That death is a finish line for us.
Hmm.
Uh, when it comes to nihilism, I don't know if you've heard of it. You probably heard of it,
Yeah, yeah,
but like the
nihilism.
whole in a nutshell, nihilism is coming in terms with the fact that hey, you're gonna die. Now, some people may get depressed and may just go all dark mode, but personally, I see it as a kind of a hey, I now have chances because I know that not everything is permanent, that I can savor those things that are not permanent.
Hmm.
I'll if I go on a boat trip with my loved ones that I will get to never experience again, I can savor it. I can, come with the fact that hey, at least I'm in the moment, I'm doing it right now, and I'm enjoying it.
Mm.
You know, it kind of death. I would say it kind of sweetens life in itself. It kind of makes you think that you know if nothing is permanent, then why not just enjoy that?
Mm.
It's kind of like with food. You know that your meat is gonna get rotten if you just leave it. So might as well enjoy it while you
Well,
eat.
you can, yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it's a great point. And getting old. Oh, that was a voice crack. Getting old is, well, it's a choice in some ways for the lucky ones of us. But one day we're all going to leave. And I feel like a lot of people need to come to terms that getting old is okay. It's okay to get old. Um, it sounds bad saying that because a lot of people, especially young people, recently have been in the mood of, oh, as soon as I get old, I won't be able to do anything anymore. I'll lose purpose. And in some ways that's true. You won't be able to work anymore. Your joints will get creaky. Um, you're going to start having health issues, and you'll just be a passing figure to most people. But I feel like getting old or being old is a blessing in a way. You don't have to worry about anything. You have your retirement. You're in retirement, and you can just enjoy what life really is. It's just recollection and enjoying what's right in front of you right now. And you never know when your heart is going to stop beating. No one knows. It could happen to me right now. I could go outside and get hit by a truck, and I wouldn't be around anymore. And a lot of people like ask doctors and they seek, when am I gonna die? Can you tell me when I'm gonna die, roughly? But it takes away from that anticipation, because when you die, eternity will feel like counting to one. You won't be around to experience anything, most likely, and no one knows what death is. Are we gonna go to heaven? Are we gonna go to hell? Are we gonna be humans again, or is there nothing? And going into that mist, exploring it, is something only you can do. No one can come back from the dead and tell you what it's like, because no one's done that before, and no one can do that. So it's a personal voyage, just like life. And if you were to quote Dumbledore from the first part of the Harry Potter movies, kind of weird to bring it up here, but if you were to quote him, for an organized mind, death is just another adventure. And that's totally true. So getting old is in many ways not a choice. You can try to be trendy and you can try to keep up, and you can probably, but one day you're going to get old and you're going to die. But coming to terms with that opens up a whole other avenue of philosophy. It opens up a whole other avenue of looking at things. So, that guy, if you have something to say, go ahead.
I'm in fucking shock, man.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that the new opens a new avenue thing. The opens a new possibilities thing you said.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of a contradictory to the whole point that we were trying to make during this show, during this podcast actually, and it just circles back to the fact that getting old is at the same time a choice and not a choice. It depends. Okay, so if I'm going to sum it up, physically it's not a choice. Mentally, if you're not in any way, if you don't, okay, let's take a again a hypothetical and say you don't get any kind of memory loss. You will age, you will gain experiences, and that's something you cannot escape from. You cannot lock yourself in a blank black box and just hope that you remember, because even that thing that you remember every second of your day, it's still going to get changed in your mind. I may just be thinking to myself, oh, I have this half full glass of water, but in half an hour, if it's going to be changed into, oh, I have like 1/8 of water in this cup. It's constantly going to change, even if we want that or not. So that is not a choice in mentally. So we have to gain experiences, but at the same time, it is a choice because we can we can sort of accept the fact that, and when I say accept, it's already a choice. When you hear words like accept or come in terms with, it's a choice, because we chose to come in terms that life just passes. We cannot get around that, and we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that, accept that, and come in terms with that. So I guess it's getting old is not a choice, but we ourselves can make it a choice
Mm.
in some factors of it.
Mm. Oh, what
So yeah,
yeah, I want to
that's all I'm gonna
clarify.
say.
Oh, thanks. I want to clarify with the opens up a whole new avenue. I don't mean it like opens up. Well, it opens up new possibilities because pursuing immortality or pursuing, uh, you know, slowing down the process of aging, uh, is wasting your time that you have
Yeah,
left.
it's
Because,
you know about that.
hmm?
You know about that adventure of a conquistador looking for the fountain of youth.
Yeah,
That's basically a way to describe life and death.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
searching. It's searching for immortality that you do not find.
yeah, and you just waste time trying to find it. So, us humans, we can't get around the basic physiological process that aging is. It is a basic thing built in to us. It's like, how, let's say, a computer heats up when it works a lot. Can you prevent that? You can try to cool it with fans and coolant liquids and whatnot, but it's still going to get hot. And one day, all of that heating stress is going to be too much, and the computer is going to say, no more. I'm done. Right? And in the same way, that's how we do. We can try to extend our life with antioxidants, antitoxins. Sorry, what the antioxidants? Antitoxins. We can try to, uh, prolong our life with stem cell transplants. But in the end, we're just gonna fall apart. So, what I meant by opening a whole new avenue, I meant it opens up a new way of thinking. Let me do something now because I can't do it later. Later, I'll be dead. Or I won't waste time trying to pursue the cure to death because there is none. And there probably will never be. Instead, I'll try to use the time that I have right now to do something meaningful for myself and for others. And the only way you can be remembered after death is by doing something. If you try to pursue, the health, the cure to death, you will be remembered as you won't be remembered for long because it was a failed attempt. But if you go out and do something like it doesn't have to be major. It can be something minor like it doesn't have to be a major scientific discovery. It could be something like getting a better job or starting a company or um I don't know, even moving in closer to your children or your grandchildren in case you're an elderly person or being kind to other people. They're going to remember you after that.
Mm.
And everyone says that you die twice. You die once when you're dead, when you stop breathing, and a second time when someone says your name for the last time. I don't know what my grand uh, pa is.
Kids.
Yeah, my grandkids will remember me in some way, but my grandkids will remember me less, and my grandkids probably won't even know who I was in the first place.
That's why it's
You
good to
know?
like try to preserve things.
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah, but you shouldn't
That,
let
that's
that
why like
take. Yeah, go ahead.
that's why things like the whole point of a family tree. Every time my teacher asked me, "Oh, do a family tree," I have to come in the fact that holy shit, I didn't mention my grandfather's name in last 15 years, and
Mm,
I get kind of existential when I come with the fact that hey, nobody's talking about him. He's just a name on the grave now,
yeah,
name on the tombstone. So yeah, but
yeah,
continue on, please.
yeah. Well, I think that's about it. We're about 40 minutes in. Wow.
Okay,
Time flies.
kind of an unrelated to the podcast. I know nobody listened, but this was genuinely fucking awesome.
It was. I
I
love this.
genuinely, I genuinely had good time with this. Like, I'm happy we
Yeah.
did this. Okay,
Yeah. And I hope you guys out there listening, whoever you might be, also had a great time
if
listening
anyone
to
is
us.
listening, I love my fans.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
My address is 69 Lego Street. Send me fan mail, please. Just don't stalk me.
Don't stalk me, please. Okay. But yeah,
Twitch.tv.
yeah, we have a Discord server, and we've linked that in the description or whatever this is posted on. In fact, we recorded this in a Discord stage, so if you want to drop by, we'd really appreciate it. We just started today. This is our first podcast ever that we've done.
And we usually do them like at this, like kind of. If you're a Central European, it's somewhere in like 6 to 7 p.m.
We'll,
So
we'll
yeah.
be doing it at different times, but once we get more people watching in, and we'll make sure we have some kind of schedule. So again, I want to thank you for listening. If you've come this far, congratulations. I want to thank you for sticking around, and if you have any ideas for the next podcast, which might be in 2 days,
Join our server.
join our server and tell us. Yeah. Anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in the next podcast.